On the morning show, welcome everybody. Spencer Israel, Steve Strazza. We'll have JC Parets join us from his mobile device this morning, wherever he is. We got a lot going on today. We got brand new tariffs. It's season 2 or 3 of the trade war. And this time the writers have cooked up new EU tariffs. Also, apparently, we're all going to be working at iPhone factories this time next year. That's exciting. We'll talk about that. We'll talk commodities with Matt Warder. Of course, it's Friday, which means we have to have Louis Sykes on. Talk cryptos on Crypto Friday. We'll hear from Kenny Glick. We got a lot going on, guys. It's a busy, busy morning. Let's go. Drop me a like. Wake your neighbors and tell them to get on their screens because things are happening.
Hello.
All right.
So, fast market again today. Not sure if you caught my comments from yesterday, but man, I'll tell you, I'm feeling more the same way, Spencer. If I'm an expert at anything, it's volatility. My short-term account will fluctuate in a morning in a way that most people could never fathom. And again, I just got to tell you, these politicians, man. They don't stop. 7:45. Trump's comments on the EU. Smell you later. Like, just can we have a day?
I would argue. We've had several days. Can you bring up slide 1? Steve, I've seen your future. I have seen your future. Did you know that?
Yeah, tell me.
This is your future. That's you.
Oh,
that is you.
Did you try to get AI to make it look like me?
Of course.
Wow, that's pretty good. Shit.
Of course I did.
All right.
This is. I don't know if you've ever used a punch card in your life, but you better learn, buddy.
No.
You better learn fast.
Wow. There's just a lot going on. The market moved a little bit on the Apple news too.
Yeah. So, in case you don't know what we're talking about, there is a new 25% tariffs on all iPhones made outside the U.S. And now we have potential 50% tariffs on any goods imported from the EU. There was supposed to be 20% tariffs on those EU goods that were going to go into effect before there was that 90-day pause. Now, forget the 20%, forget the 90-day pause. June 1st, which is next week, by the way, we're getting apparently 50% tariffs on these EU goods. My question for you and for the chat and for everyone watching is, does this dip get bought today, or do we have to wait until next week? Because we know it's getting bought.
The market was ready to ramp. So maybe it still will. We got a long day ahead of us. I think one hole nailed it, really. So if you're wondering what happened this morning, Trump said he'll powerbomb Apple and hit EU with 50% tariffs. That's what's going on here for the most part this morning. Don't buy the dip. All right, we need more of that sentiment. So look, these new nuclears, really, really good. We were talking on the analyst call yesterday. Spencer, did you hear that? I got laughed at. I was talking about weekly calls in new nuclears, right?
That's
Weekly calls, a little spice there for sure. I'll tell you, one of the cheat codes for a good technician or trader is called the flag. Bull flags in bull markets. I mean, there's nothing that good. You just play these flags. Do we have the flags? Can we throw up the new nuclear flags? These things were just high and tight since last week, after they exploded last week. Throw them up. Throw all 3 of them up. We got a new one too, special situation. Going to write about it right after the show. Send out a freebie to everybody. Look at this, high and tight, coming out of a tactical base. Some of them are above WAP, some of them still below, but it's not even about that. These things are blasting higher this morning. Where's the next one? SMR is my favorite, but NNE, I think, has that catch-up juice. A lot of young guys on the analyst call these days. It's getting laughed at for the new nuclear calls, getting laughed at for catch-up trades. I don't know.
My favorite part, this is an analyst call that we do once a week. My favorite part of the call was when Steve said, in one breath, he said He's looking for weekly options on nuclear. And in the very next breath, he said, which of these have the best fundamentals? Shout out to Riley for calling him out. Who actually cares about fundamentals when you're on the weekly calls? And Steve was like, yeah, you're right. Actually, good point. That makes no sense. So,
but I'll tell you, no, I'm in the common too because I love these trends. I'm so into these names. We just did a deep dive on it. Drop the link to the deep dive. No, these stocks are so hot right now. These three names I like as much as anything. We're talking about on the breakout multiplier call yesterday too. And I'll tell you, Donald Trump's tweet this morning has been the difference between a 5 and a 10x, and that's got me a little down.
Some type of way, yeah.
We
got JC from the road. JC, what's up? What's up?
GEV, also CEG, VST. I mean, this group hotter than anything right now. Well, Quantum, shout out Quantum. Hey, buddy.
Wait, JC.
Hey, what's up now?
JC, talk to me about the bull flags. Is that like one of the ultimate cheat codes for traders? Bull flags in uptrends. Is there anything easier?
Oh, he's in the dead zone.
And he's gone. All right, it was good chatting.
Back. No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, I would caution everybody who's watching these bull flags that if these bull flags do not resolve higher, that is a big problem, right? So, as bullish as a bull flag might be, and as many as there are out there, I see them. It's hard not to. But just remember, flip that on its head. If these bull flags do not turn out to be that, that's a big problem for this market. So again, I'm not saying that they're going to resolve lower. I'm just saying something to be aware of. Well, that just because there's a bull flag doesn't mean sky's the limit, all systems go. Right? Keep that in mind.
I love that. You're talking more about.
I hate to be the old wise man in the room, but sometimes I got to pull that card.
So wise, but you're talking more about the price action at the index level. I was just talking about some bull flags that are resolving higher here today that we discussed on the analyst call yesterday. But dude, small cap already resolving lower from a bull flag.
I don't really see a lot of bull flags in the indexes. Do you?
You're talking about what now?
I'm talking about stocks specifically. I'm not necessarily talking about the indexes. Are there a lot of bull flags in indexes? I haven't really noticed.
All of them. But like Russell completing lower already. Something like ARC holding in there looking pretty good. So they all look a little bit different right now. They're going to go in the same direction, whichever that is, for sure. I'm talking about just trading some high and tight things, The
short interest.
This isn't really good for me, Spencer.
JC, I'm moving you backstage. When you get into a better reception, holler at me. But he's in the dead zone. I don't know. So
JC's not sitting on his hands, Susan Awesomeness. This is a bull market. We're not sitting on our hands. We're getting involved. We're getting our hands dirty is really what we're doing. How about those TLT bangers? Nice little move there. Even the TLT getting sent lower here. I got my 1 minute charts up. That's how you know it's.
Oh God,
things are coming off the rails out here this morning.
All right, Kenny.
Been staring at the 1 minute ticks since 7:45. My brain hurts already. Okay, we have any earnings news? I know it's a big retail.
I mean, yeah, we do, but like, do we care about that? Like, I'm much more interested in the macro stuff. So yeah, you've got like Raw Stores. You got Decker's getting killed today, down 20%. Raw Stores getting hit pretty hard. Yeah. Oh wait, JC's back. JC.
How about that bull flag in Tesla, JC? Tesla's got a nice tight one. Nope, he's not back.
I bought Dollar Tree yesterday.
We can state the markets quick. I could tell you what's doing what based on these headlines out here this morning. Some shaky stuff. You bought the what now?
The Dollar Tree.
Spencer?
Yes.
Okay. Fine. I'm glad. I like it. I'm glad. You've read our coverage of the stock.
Well, yeah, like 2 weeks ago.
Got it. You're catching up.
Yeah, I'm on a bit of a delay.
No, they did great. Dude, DG too. The DG looks fantastic too. They're both in these memory gap situations right now, and they're filling it. So
yeah. No, the state of the market is this: everything is down except for gold, right? And China. in
I
Japan.
thought you were a DEI guy. You're really out here buying dollar stores. Isn't that a no-no?
I'm a DEI guy. What?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Dollar. Wait,
Right, good.
what does dollar stores have to do with that? I don't even
Are
know.
they like bad? Dollar stores are like bad to their people.
Oh, I
They have low
mean, they're
DEI.
also bad. They're also like bad for their customers too. You ever shopped in one? They're terrible.
Oh yeah. Oh, I've been around.
Yeah.
So it's funny though, right? How we used to use this acronym called ESG until it got really unpopular and everybody started to hate it. So then
That's
we
right.
just renamed the same exact thing with a new acronym, DEI, as if it's any different. You notice that? You ever hear
Well,
ESG
actually,
anymore? Who
before
says that?
before ESG, there was SRI, socially responsible investing,
Aren't those
uh,
antidepressants?
and sure SRI, and then there was like no, actually it's ESG, and now, but it was all none of it worked. Someone in the chat commented about Fannie Mae. God damn it! I'm so freaking mad at myself. I should have bought that. I know Ackman, said he was long a few months ago, right? I should have bought that years ago because we get these headlines like twice a year, right? That Fannie and Freddie are going to be removed from their government-owned entity, or they're going to return their money to shareholders. And I never pull the trigger. Why? It's up. Fannie and Freddie are both up today on news that I guess they're going to be made independent again for the first time.
You're right, Spencer, though. This is one of those stocks that it's just, there's been so much shit like this over the years. These were also like, this was ground zero for the financial crisis in a way as well.
I'm so mad. I'm so mad.
No, but dude, it's one of these stocks that I look at and you see the big moves. I never feel bad about missing it. This is one of those you're better off staying away from situations. That's the way I've always thought about it.
Well, because the risk is like someone comes out and says, actually, they're never going to be made independent ever again, and these things go back to $1 or less, right?
What's Freddie Mac? FMMC?
There's FNMA is Fannie Mae. FMCC is Freddie Mac.
God, well, I mean, some chart, some break.
I know. Listen, man, I'm looking at a 20-year, 30-year chart here.
Holy cow!
I know.
That's pretty cool. Yep, you missed it. Don't chase it.
I know.
Cares?
So mad.
Well, who really cares?
Because this is like predictable stuff. I'm so annoyed. Anyway,
Peloton looks good.
Yeah, Jeff Mackey has been pounding the table on Peloton. He talked about that yesterday, actually, on our call, that there was a little carve out, not like for Peloton per se, but in this big bad spending bill, right? That just went from the House to the Senate. There's a nice little incentive there potentially for Peloton. He's pounding the table on this company. Yeah, he loves it. So
it looks good. I like it too. Bitcoin.
So many of these COVID darlings have come back, and this is one that hasn't. Right? They were in this bubble. They all crashed. A lot of them have come back. You'll never see Coinbase at $30 again, right? Like, just not going to happen.
No way.
But Peloton hasn't come back yet. It's one of the ones that haven't. So you'll never see Palantir at $5, probably. Right?
Coinbase. Not sure if you know this. This is legit. Okay, this is an S&P 500 component now. People used to laugh about our bullishness on Coinbase. What's more legit than S&P 500? Inclusion, baby. They deserve it. Shout out Brian Armstrong, one of the greatest operators currently doing it. So good. Speaking of good operators.
Yes.
Alex Karp.
Yes.
Selling shares again. And I'll tell you.
Oh, you don't actually care about that, do you?
I found it interesting. Cohen's out there dropping a big Form 4S to a number of other big insiders with big sales. It's just, it does stand out a little bit. It really does.
Really? You actually care?
Oh, it's a change in character, Spencer. And Steve Cohen literally funded this company and has been there since day one. I used to do the accounting, so I know. So seeing him and Andy file a Form S, I don't know. This is the stock's biggest bulls.
I mean, if I
Something to watch.
I would see you Palantir.
It's something to watch.
I would
Look,
be
the
booked
easy money's been made in
Yeah.
Palantir, right? Like this is if you're getting involved up here, where you been, right? The easy money's been made since the teens. This thing reversed in the teens. We were all over this thing in mid-teens when it was printing a primary textbook trend reversal. That was 10x ago.
Mhm.
This cycle. I'll tell you, it's a special company though. Special company. I was listening to a conversation on a podcast this morning. People were talking about how tech stocks are really never small enough to be in the Russell 2000. It's so true because they're just built different. Like a small cap tech stock, if it's got any chance, should be a couple billion. $100 million tech stocks are probably all zeros, right? So that's the tech stocks that get involved in the Russell 2000s. Why part of the reason why the Russell 2000 is so weak. Think about it though; they're just built different. That's why they have higher valuations, like a software company.
Well, they stay private for a
What
very
is
long
what is the
time.
one industry group that has better margins than technology?
Yeah,
There's
but
one
but
industry.
but the are
Best
you
margins in the
saying
world.
you're saying there is none, right?
There's one.
Oh, there is one. Better margins in technology.
Who's got it? Better margins than tech.
Um.
Consistently higher margin business than software even.
Oh, it must be some pharmaceutical. It must be
Nobody?
because that's really expensive to develop drugs. I
No,
don't know.
I'm talking about consistently, not like some wonder drug. It's called government contracting. Hence why Palantir is so special, right? I mean, what a sweet spot to be in. Government contracting plus software plus AI. Really good stuff.
Yeah, T-Lock got it. That's politics. That's what that is.
Yeah. These politicians, man.
Yeah.
Basically, feed the ducks. Pay yourself. If you've been in Palantir, it's been a fun ride. You've made some great money. You could probably get the stock for a lot cheaper in the future. It also looks real failed breaky here.
No,
I'm not hanging out in failed breakies up 10x. It's not the time for that. I'll take a fresh break. Try to ride something like that, but failed breaky, waning momentum, not for me, not in this tape.
Steve, these tech companies also stay private for longer, which is why there's a case to be made that like we're past peak IPO, right? Because why would by the time you IPO, the easy money has been made, right? A lot of times. So
OpenAI is a $300 billion valuation.
Yeah.
You
think they're going public? Why do they need to deal with the headache of going public and the quarterly calls and the shareholder lawsuits and this and that? And who needs that headache? Right? So I don't know. All right.
Hold on. Bonds. How about the bonds? So we talked yesterday about the bonds. Could we do an update on the bonds? Do we have the TLT? What did I say, Spencer? I said my growth stocks are going to be getting blasted out here if TLT's breaking down. What did TLT do yesterday? It dug in, it stuck it scooped higher. Getting a little follow through here today. They're banging it down this morning. Had a nice run. Looking at TLT, but 30 years going failed break, hitting a wall of resistance. And I think you want to see that. You want to see a follow through day, a big green candle from the TLT today. I own so much TMF right now.
I had to look up what that was. So that's the 20-year 3 times levered.
It's the 20-year triple.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Because bonds are boring. And that's the honest truth. You're gonna trade bonds, like go use your futures account or trade one of these stupid things. Google failed breaky. A lot of it out there. A lot of failed breaky. I think we'll be okay though, Spencer. They wanted to dig in and reverse this thing yesterday. They tried to repair it. We were going to come out green here this morning. It was looking good. It was looking good. If you've been up, things were looking good just this morning. But now JC's right. A lot of bull flags actually breaking lower, filling some gaps from last week out here this morning. Small caps look especially bad. 200 in the small caps. Do we have that chart? 200 in the small caps. Such a big level. Such a big level. Do we have that chart?
I'm staring at it. The small caps have looked bad.
From the cycle lows, the October 2023 lows, that was the cycle low for small caps. A lot of indexes, actually. So if you anchor VWAP from there, we're right at it. But guess what else is right at this level? 200. 200 was the base breakout level. So we're undoing a major reversal pattern. Right? That's the primary trend reversal pattern, getting undone, failing. Nasty. The VWAP from the all-time highs is what put a cap on this advance too. And now we're breaking a big VWAP in the other direction. And I think 200, back below 200 in the Russell, it's back to really, really messy tape, back to a messy environment. Then you got to see, okay, let's see what the bears got here. You're going to hear people come out and start talking about like, oh, we're going to retest the lows. Start to hear that. That'll be good. Need more of that chatter, right? It's really dried up. The retest the lows crowd, they've really disappeared here.
There's been nothing to, at least we're going down now, so at least I got something to say, but there's been nothing to say about it. What can you say when you go up 6 days in a row?
Did you hear about this president's dinner where you have to own the Trump coin to go to?
I did hear about that. Yes, I wasn't.
Do you own enough?
I actually, no joke. I actually almost bought some yesterday. I didn't, but I almost did.
Now, can I get in with DJT calls?
I don't know. If
that doesn't count?
I don't know.
What is the ticker symbol of the Trump coin?
I think it's just Trump.
Well,
no, it's not. It's here. I'm on spot. 1 second.
So
I thought it was just. I thought it was Trump. Yeah, it's just Trump. TRUMP.
Speaking of the cryptos, unlike some of you guys, Spencer, I have standards, so I don't go to the fart coin stuff like that. It's just below my bar,
below your line. I
yeah, but I do love animals. So yesterday I bought a frog.
Right.
I bought a squirrel, and I bought a dog. A dog with hat.
See, I'm going the other way. I'm going body parts and bodily fluids. So I'm going fart coin. I'm going butthole. I don't know what bonk is, but I like the sound of it.
Great. So long bonk. Get involved with the bonk. I have the bonk chart up right now. I was looking at it.
I've got the tit coin. I've got them all, man. I mean, the tit coin. Yeah. Okay. Enough about this. You know what? Can we just let's bring Louis out? Yeah. Sorry, Louis. Earmuffs. We'll bring Louis out, then we'll bring Matt Water out, and then we'll see where this gets us. How about that?
Got my fingers on the pulse, avocado and toast.
Morning, guys. I gotta say, the butthole is getting really tight here. I mean, it's coiling very, very nicely, and it's getting this nice range. And normally, when it's nice and tight like this, we can see an explosion here in the butthole.
I was gonna say, do you see like maybe an air gap in the chart, but apparently not, because you're saying it's coiling, it's getting nice and tight.
Yeah, I mean, look, I like when it gets tight.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't see any cracks in your thesis whatsoever. Okay, sorry, Louis, how are we doing?
Fantastic, lovely to be talking crypto with you guys.
Great.
I got to say, just coming in, only just woken up. It's middle of the night here, so futures are down. What's up? Has the president done something?
He tweeted about tariffs. I don't know if you saw that Steve was going to be working at an iPhone factory next year. We're all going to be working at iPhone factories in America next year. Apparently, we're going to make iPhones in the U.S. So, I don't know.
Louis is funny, man. Louis been had me cracking up since last week.
I appreciate that. New Orleans was a great time. It was fantastic.
Oh God, I didn't know you were this. Yeah.
Look,
all right, am I crazy? Because I wasn't kidding, Louis. Real talk. I bought the squirrel. I bought the peanut. I bought the peanut. The monkey. I bought the squirrel. I bought the dog with the hat, and I bought the frog. Pepe the frog. Pepe.
What I have to say is that we've had this really nice run in crypto and in equities, and it's inevitable that we're going to digest and pull back a little bit. And this is something that I know that Sean has been saying a lot. I put a note out, this was maybe 2 weeks ago, that on that eventual pullback, because the wounds are still so fresh from this recent correction, that there's just going to be a bunch of noise out there, right? Like, this is totally normal to have some sort of digestion. And so I think what we're going to see now, I mean, I'm sure if I go on Twitter tomorrow morning, everyone's just going to be freaking out about something that's happened. But this is totally normal, right? The market just digests its gains. I got to say that Bitcoin fail breaky alert. Not quite yet, but I mean, it's not a great look right now. So you just need to see Bitcoin hold 108. If Bitcoin gets below 108, I think it's not the end of the world. We've had this really nice run, and I think just a little bit more patience before this eventual breakout to all-time highs. And look, the trend has definitively shifted, and even if we just get a little bit of messy price action, I think I don't mind taking some bets on some tight potholes here.
And I think you're right, Louis. Like failed breaking in the Bitcoin isn't end of the world kind of stuff. This isn't some cycle base here. This is just the highs from earlier in the year, and it looks for now like they're just sticking it, and it's just a pretty sweet retest. So I think you want to let it dance. If it does fail break, I think you want to lean in the direction of a false start, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Patience. Yeah, I like that. The Bitcoin miners not really behaving. Coinbase and Robinhood looking good out here. MicroStrategy lagging the Bitcoin. Keep hearing a lot about that.
Right. That really surprised me. We had Bitcoin had two great candles pushing to all-time highs, but then MicroStrategy was just chilling a little bit. I don't know if I'm reading too much into that because I mean it was only a few days, right? But I think and this is something that I've been saying where again we've had this really nice run in crypto. If we get any pullback here, we've got really strong levels of support below us, and so I think those dips are going to get bought pretty nicely. And I think just for me personally, I'm going to be adding exposure if we get some dips here.
What alts do you like here? You like keep it simple with a little Solana, or the Mimi stuff is showing momentum here. A little short-term RS from the Mimi stuff, no?
Yep, I mean, I think we're entering into the later stages of the cycle. We're certainly not, we're transitioning out of the middle stages, particularly Bitcoin breaking out. This is the second major breakout that we had the first one to all-time highs, and now we're breaking out here. And so I think, I think generally altcoins and meme coins, all the shit, the whatever crazy names you're going to come up with, whether it's the tick coin or the butthole coin, the squirrels, I think that's probably going to be leading from here on out. I think maybe just in the short term, I think it'll probably underperform if we get a little bit of a pullback in Bitcoin. But I think from there, I think that'll begin to outperform. I think we're probably heading into more of a crazy season. Everybody, has been really quiet on this Bitcoin breakout, and nobody has been talking about how stupid crypto is as an asset class. And nobody's talking, back in March, right? Back in March of 2024, everyone was talking about how stupid of an asset class it is because you have these random names and these random meme coins breaking out. You haven't had that this time around. And so I think that's going to return. It's going to return pretty quickly.
Well, there hasn't been like a viral coin this go around yet, at least, right?
Coin. So
it's not viral. It's not.
Is this like a catch-up trade thesis for you, Spencer? Because the butthole doesn't look as good as the tit.
Yeah, it's all relative, right? It's all relative. So
I think if you take a ratio of the butthole coin to the tit coin, I think you'll probably get a high correlation with grinder stock. That'll be my bet.
Possibly. But look, I'm going for the relative strength, and like I said, body parts over animals. That's my thematic portfolio right now. I could pivot to celebrities, right? I said I thought about doing the Trump yesterday. I didn't do it. I could pivot to AI. I could pivot to memes, but at the moment, I'm in body parts.
How much Trump coin do you need to own to get into Mar-a-Lago?
More than I would buy.
It was a little over 200,000 the first time it came out, but I mean that was last time I checked. That was about a month ago, so that probably could have been a little bit higher now.
I'll bet it ballooned. I'll bet that number ramped as the news came.
I mean, I'm not sure.
I think a lot of times, Louis, like who's having more fun than us out here? We have a lot of fun doing our job. But I really think Donald Trump's having the most fun out here. Like, who is having more fun than this man?
Probably nobody.
It's crazy.
Hey, Louis, sign of the cycle that we're in. You know what the number one trending thing on Spot.dog is right now?
Tell me.
It's Ethereum.
Is it really?
It's Ethereum.
Wow.
It's not Farcoin. It's not Trump. It's not this or that. It's Ethereum. It's
Louis brought it back to
Wow.
the people.
He did.
Yeah.
Louis gets all the
Yeah.
credit. Louis
Yeah.
was pounding the table on this months ago.
Yeah. Love it.
I'm the eighth savior. I mean, they need to pay me for these promotions. I need to be like Matt Damon, but for E.
I didn't see that coming from you.
Fortune favors the bold, huh, Louis? All right.
Yeah.
Louis
Oh,
is
yeah.
full of surprises these days.
Love
A lot
it.
of Disney talk in the chat. Louis, is there a correlation between gold and Bitcoin at this point? Is it anything worth thinking about?
Think about that in 10 years.
I could show you two lines right now. I could zoom way in. I could tell you a story about gold and Bitcoin. No,
I mean, tell me the story. What's the story?
they look the same. I don't know. Pick your poison. Inflation hedge, short
They
dollar,
look the same.
right? Yeah.
I mean, crazy things happen in markets all the time. I mean, gold and Bitcoin trading together. I mean,
He doesn't
I
like
don't
it.
know. I don't really think it's all that relevant. I mean, this stuff
Doesn't
happens all the time, right? Sometimes you get these big correlations, then they just dissipate.
Yeah.
And the bigger correlation we all know is that it's just another tech stock, and so that's
Okay. So let's go there. Does it catch down then? Is it catching down? Failed break? You're going to catch back down to the NASDAQ? If these little bull flags, and if you look at the Russell 2000, that bull flag's already going lower, right? So if the Qs and XLK look the same soon with their little consolidation, if those resolve lower, Bitcoin failed breaky, little catch down move to stocks. That would make a lot of sense to me.
I mean, again, look, we've had a really nice run. Crypto has recovered so well, and Bitcoin hasn't really had all that much of a material pullback in a long time. So just a little bit of a false start here, just to build up the momentum, just to build up the fuel, just to build up the reserves, so that on that real breakout, we can actually really push through. Because look, if we're going to have this real Bitcoin breakout, we are going to have a 50% rally that takes us to 155K. That's just the reality of it. And so even if we just spend just a few more weeks, just gearing up a little bit, that's totally within reason. I think you're probably seeing that right now. I think heading into this, my gut feel, my visceral feel was that we're going to have a failed break here. But regardless, you need to pay attention to money flow, what's actually happening. So even though I had this feeling that this breakout was gonna fail, I was still buying it. But I think it probably makes sense here that just a little bit of consolidation would be normal.
What do you think about the current administration, political landscape for crypto? Is this simply a more conducive environment to uptrends for things like altcoins and Bitcoin?
Hell yeah. I mean, look, you're never going to get anything more positive than this, where you obviously
the chains are off. The chains are off.
Yeah, totally. And it needed to happen, right? You know, the previous administration and what they were doing with just these crypto guys were just trying to follow the rules. They were going to these regulatory bodies saying, hey, look, we want to comply. And the response that they got was, okay, we don't have a framework for you. We're just going to hand you a fine because, we don't really know what we're doing. Of course that's broken, right? And so I think what they're doing now is clearly the right move. And now we're starting to see the proliferation of all of these new ETFs. We had the first 1x Ripple ETF.
Yeah.
Perma-Bear of Ripple. I think, that's.
I think you're wrong on that. But go on.
I mean, but look,
I know.
it's tremendously bullish. And I think just as we get a little bit more clarity, because again, we're still at the beginning of this, we still don't really know what these.
What he means is when something as shitty as Ripple is working, it can only be one thing. That's what
that's what I'm saying in a very politically correct way.
Great.
Oh, that may be so. Louis.
Miss Unique in the chat disagrees with you. Some really insightful comments on the current administration and what it means for crypto. Not an unbiased opinion. Probably not an unbiased opinion.
If anything, Trump would set the crypto world back a few decades. I don't know what that means.
It's okay.
That's okay. Hey, that's what makes a market, you know?
That's right.
Disagreeing opinions. We live in a free country. I mean, I went to Bourbon Street, and man, I can tell you that you guys live in a free country.
That's
Free as fuck.
right. Louis, before we go, what was your favorite part of New Orleans?
The music, honestly.
It was good.
The music. The music's great.
Some good music.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good
Yeah.
answer.
You can hear that.
I've never been. You've been more than me now. So
I'll tell you, the boys had some fun. The young guys had some fun on this one.
I'm sure they did. Louis,
Later, Louis. Have a great
Thanks a
weekend.
lot,
All
man.
right. Cheers, guys.
all right. Steve's in pound on the table on commodities. So we thought we got to bring on Matt Water to talk to him.
Commodities. Let's do it.
Commodities.
Commodities.
All right. We got Matt Water in the house. And let's see if he agrees with you about any of your takes.
Jay, we've been friends for a long time. Make the call.
I mean, this is pretty professional, guys.
Nice show you got going here.
What's going on, boys?
What's up?
Good
What's
to
up?
see you again.
You too. Hey, I know you young guys had fun in New Orleans, but some of us old guys had fun too. Maybe a little too
Matt.
much.
What was
No, I
your
was-
favorite part of New Orleans?
I was including myself with the adults.
I mean, my favorite part of New Orleans is probably like 2:00 in the morning, purple drinks at Lafitte's with all you boys.
Dude.
Um,
You guys, there were so many sugary drinks.
there's
Yeah,
so
that
much.
gross.
Everything's like it's the daiquiris. What's the outside of the purple drink? Hurricane. Hurricanes everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Those are not good if you don't want to have a hangover in the morning.
Those will hang you over in the morning for sure. That's a lot of sugar.
Ugh.
Yeah,
Sugar.
it's, I've had a lot of great experiences at patios, but clear-headed mornings are not one of them.
So that was your first portfolio accelerator. What did you think? Did you have a good time with it?
I had a blast. Yeah, no, it's I thought you guys had a nice group of folks there. A really diverse, slate of topics, which I think is really important to, kind of the generalist crowd. And you had subject matter experts that were there on each individual ones. It was useful for me. Like, one of the things I like about what you guys do is you look at correlations between asset classes a lot. And there are a lot of insights that you can sort of glean from that. I mean, for me, I kind of do like macro top-down approach.
Right.
So a lot of those correlations we expect to happen in certain modalities of the economy when, inflation is accelerating or growth is accelerating or one's going in one direction and one's going in the other. But you guys are observing the minutia and kind of trading the minutia without necessarily the macro backdrop. So you guys have a kind of different go anywhere, sort of do anything approach to things, which I think is great. You're really doing macro without doing it. When you look at that.
Right. Like, we're not as smart as you. We don't know these specific markets as much, but like, we'll just use a lot of intermarket analysis in a way. Like, we'll start right here, right? Speaking of correlations, gold looks great. Silver looks like it's ready to join the party. Platinum and palladium this week. Hello.
Yeah.
Why won't copper follow? I'm looking at this coil in copper. You zoom out a little bit, you got a nice base. I think to myself, these metals are working. Why not the base metals? How about copper?
Well, copper is you have to think about the nature of those individual metals themselves, right? Gold is a currency, so gold is used to basically back up your your fiat, and central bank purchases of gold have been increasing exponentially over the last few years. Most especially in countries that have either currency problems like Russia with sanctions against them, or China, which has their own sort of unique set of peccadillos with regard to that as well. So it's in those countries' best interest, especially in an increasingly volatile world with trade, to shore up their currencies. Now, unlike gold, when we start to talk about silver or platinum or palladium, well, those all have serious physical demand. There some silver, platinum, and palladium goes to silver, platinum, and palladium heaven. So the fundamentals for silver, like the macro backdrop there, is more that the solar industry in China is slowing down, and that's kind of putting a drag on aluminum and silver. There's a surprising amount of silver in solar panels. And so that's part of the reason why silver hasn't yet to break out. But I will sort of just one extra point there. China has started to make central bank purchases of platinum. So
is that what happened this week? Is that the fireworks this week?
I'm pretty sure that's what that is.
Sounds
so
like
platinum's macro backdrop, similar to silver's, is not that great because of its industrial capability. Like, we're not going to have a good year for auto sales, which is primarily where platinum and palladium are. They're used primarily as auto catalysts. There's some other demand centers as well. But if central banks are going to start, switching from gold, which is becoming increasingly unavailable, to platinum, then we'll absolutely see a catch-up trade. In the, like, platinum is rarer than gold is. It is generally found, deeper in the ground and with higher extraction costs than gold in the past.
Why is China buying it, you think, Matt? Is that
again same reason they've been buying gold? It's all,
so buying it as a precious metal, store of value.
It is. Well, the worry amongst countries like that is they have a lot of U.S. dollar denominated debt, and the only way you have access to U.S. dollars is through the Federal Reserve. Right. And China does not have a swap line with us, i.e., like, our allies, we can print dollars and put them in their accounts, whenever we want to in times of crises. But China's not one of them. So they have to offset their dollar denominated debt with assets, either U.S. treasuries, which they've been having to sell, not because the U.S. is a bad place to invest or they don't need the access to the dollar flow that would come with it. They've been selling them because they have to, because they have other internal problems. So, whereas in New Orleans, I was going to talk about how I wasn't really super bullish on platinum and palladium. If central banks are going to participate in the platinum market, well, that's a fact that would change my mind.
Sure. And could you see something similar happen to palladium and silver, or no? It's going to be probably platinum and gold.
I think it's going to probably be platinum and gold. I think silver still has the macro headwind sort of ahead of it, because there's a lot of trade involved in those. Palladium is more of an industrial metal than a precious metal.
And silver too, right? You would say the same thing about silver?
There's a component to it, but like in markets past, when gold starts to rip, silver and platinum usually also rip on a lag. And there has to be, like, it's geopolitical factors that's going to drive it. Like, in the same way that the market's down today because Tariff man is back, right? Yeah. It's not because there's something in the underlying economy that is bad. We had the bad part, that we had the pull forward into Q1 for people wanting to get ahead of tariffs. Then we had Liberation Day, as I have been wont to call it. And that started the downtrend, and then it looked like cooler heads are going to prevail. Well, guess what? We're back, tweeting at 7:00 in the morning, watching Fox News about how shitty Europe is, and that's going to affect costs for a lot of the miners in the United States who get parts from Europe. So we live in a tape bomb world. So we don't know what Trump's going to do. All we can do is expect volatility and sort of leave it at that. So the industrial metals are feeling both the volatility of tariffs and the uncertainty around that. And that's why copper hasn't quite been able to get off the schneid.
So with you, as deep into these commodities markets as you are, it's got to be a pretty busy environment for you these days. You have to pay attention to all the trade headlines and the tariff developments, right? Because they really impact these markets as much as any.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, most of my business, and I'll go ahead and put on my coal hat for a second.
Hell yeah. This is our resident coal expert, Matt Warder.
That's right.
Coal every which way.
You can find me at thecoaltrader.com or on Twitter at mfwarder.
So good.
But a lot of the miners that I work with directly, and I've had my head very much just in the coal markets for the past year and a half. Yeah. It became really clear in like March and April that, like, oh shoot, I'm going to have to go back up to the 50,000 foot level and get macro aware again, because that's what we had to do during the first Trump administration, during the trade war, and all these dollar correlations with commodities, all these correlations with commodities and other currencies. These all matter again now.
Right.
I remember Brian London, who came and talked to the Portfolio Accelerator about gold. I gave a presentation at his conference in November, which is fantastic. And anyone out there who hasn't been to the New Orleans investment conference yet should absolutely go. It's a wonderful time. I mean, it's in New Orleans. Come on. But he gets a lot of great speakers. But I gave a presentation, I think it was like 2018, that just talked about the correlations between commodities and specifically the dollar and the yuan. And when those would break down, then we would see, price trends in the underlying commodity follow. And that was true across base metals and precious metals and industrial metals. And it was true with the bulks, coal, iron ore, and steel too. So all of these things are interrelated. So we have to be watching the headlines. Like, I hate having CNBC on in the background, but I got to do it because
right now.
Because it matters right now. Fox Business, whatever they say, sort of matters. That's how the president is getting out his trade messages. And
you gotta have Gasparino alerts on these days,
dude. Yeah, so you just got to pay attention. So to pull back, I think the underlying demand is really just unsure. Like copper in particular, we have the physical market is tight. CME and Shanghai inventories are going down. But we have some 232 sort of uncertainty there. And what are tariffs going to be? Is it going to be 10%? It's going to be 25%. That uncertainty is what's keeping it range bound on the LME between like 8,700 or 8,600 at the bottom and something like 10,640, I think was the high at the top end. And so right now, like you look at copper, and I don't know where it's exactly trading, but it's right in the middle. It's right in no man's land. So the equities, and let's pull it back to stonks here for a second. So if you're trading copper, and you're directionally sure. I'm not. I'm kind of agnostic here when it's in.
Nobody's sure right now. You got all these doji candles. It's like all this indecision the past couple of weeks. It's really tight pattern though.
Exactly. Like I'm right in the middle on it. The stock that's correlated the best with it has been the outperformer. Has been Freeport-McMoRan. So if I want to put on something that makes sense, like there's a company called First Quantum Minerals, which has a mine that was idled in Panama. That probably has a 50% chance of coming on. It's underperformed relative to FCX, relative to copper. So First Quantum, they also have some organic supply growth coming on, I think in 2027. So there's a reason to be long it anyway. And then Ivanhoe, IVN.to or IVPAF on the pink slips. Ivanhoe is underperformed because of political risk in the Congo. There was Rwanda invaded from the east, and all of the Congo stocks just took a nosedive. And so, like, if I'm going to put something on, and I talked to a friend of mine, a couple of friends of mine who are professionals, they're like doing something like long First Quantum and Ivanhoe, short FCX, short Freeport-McMoRan, and doing that pair because we're uncertain of the direction of copper, but we do think that Ivanhoe and First Quantum will catch up over time.
I like that.
So I thought that was a really, when I discussed that with my buddy, I thought that was one of the smartest pairs that I've heard probably in the last year, honestly.
I got to tell you, maybe you'll be able to help me. As someone who likes to use options to trade these waves, there's not much here for copper. Outside of Freeport, I don't really have anything. I have to go to the futures market and actually trade copper.
Yeah, that's right. And in no man's land, I just kind of don't want to touch it if you have to be unidirectional. Like, I'd feel more comfortable just being long Ivanhoe or long First Quantum as an expression of that, just to play the catch up maybe. But I love the pairs idea if you have the ability to do it, because then that takes out your directional commodities risk.
Now, with something like that, say copper takes off, breaks out of this base, and you do have a directional bias, you take off the shorts and let them ride?
Probably, yeah.
Hell yeah.
That'd be the response to do. I mean, then you can hedge your FCX short with long calls. So, you can do something like that too. Add leverage in the opposite, add a hedge in the opposite direction of your pairs trade. It's it's not, commodities are not going to be boring. As long as tariffs go from 50% to 10% to 145% to 0% to the moon.
Yep.
We're going to have a lot of. In fact, the title of my speech down there was "Trade the Chop."
Yeah.
That's what we want to do. It's not necessarily an investable market aside from if you want to get weird later. I got one sort of weird commodity that's kind of fun.
Give it to me. Let's do it.
Okay. Well, so I had a section on, like when we usually talk about commodities, we talk about the bulks, right? Coal and iron ore and steel.
Yeah.
Coal is stuck between, if we look at thermal coal, like Newcastle thermal coal is stuck between the global cost floor at like $95 and a utility demand ceiling at around 150. So right now we're on the bottom of that. I'm inclined to be more long, especially headed into summer. Coking coal the same way. Coking coal has a very similar seasonality. Its range is even narrower. Cost floor is like 160, upside's like 210, 220. We're almost right in the middle, sort of like copper, kind of no man's land. But like if you look at iron ore, if you look at steel, they've all done the same thing. They've just done the exact same thing. So that whole sector, the bulks, I think are kind of in that range. And then same with oil and gas. Oil and gas is like, oil is going to be between 55 and 65. Drill baby drill is bad for pricing, so it's probably bad for equities. So you just trade the chop, and you're done with it. Now the weird stuff is like when we get into these illiquid markets, you can't really trade, like ferroalloys or rare earths or tin. Or my favorite, which I'll give you here in a second. So like ferroalloys are interesting because there's
what is that?
Ferroalloys is like iron alloyed with other like vanadium or iron alloyed with aluminum or those sorts of things.
Okay.
There's a company called Ferroglobe, GSM is the ticker that I think probably will benefit from it. This is kind of a really not fun market to trade. But there is a European trade case coming at the end of June. There's a U.S. trade case, I believe, that's going to follow. That beeping noise is me, by the way, Pat. I'm trying to silence all the alerts that I can.
Popular guy, it sounds like.
All
right, so GSM, I see this. Okay.
Yeah. So if those trade cases are successful, that'll be hugely beneficial for it's not Slack, it's actually Discord. Let me see if I can mute all that. If those trade cases are successful, it'll be hugely beneficial for GSM. On the rare earth side, the U.S. doesn't really have much, and China can really squeeze it. But there's only two stocks to really play that cycle in.
The MP.
Yeah. So there's MP, and then there's also a Linus, lyc.ax or LYSDY on the ticker symbol. And I can't get those alerts off, guys. I'm sorry. Discord is like malfunctioning while I'm on the.
No, it's fine. It's Lion. What is it?
Linus, lyc.ax on the Australian exchange or LYSDY.
Linus. Never heard of it. Cool.
They have a mine called Mount Weld in Australia that's like one of the major ones, but that's the really
decent base
to the plays. Yeah, there's a private recycling company that is raising capital right now. It's probably worth a look, but that's private. We can't really discuss that too much on a publicly traded focused thing.
You're going too fast. Talk to me about vanadium, because I remember a time when this Largo Resources was like one of the hottest stocks in the market.
Yeah.
Vanadium things, that's back near its all-time lows.
Yeah, but the difficulty with vanadium is, vanadium is like used to make really super high strength steel, and I think you could have like a relatively bullish vanadium market in some place like Germany that is 2xing its defense budget. There's a lot of heavy plate that gets that you'll alloy with vanadium to make it stronger. So like vanadium could benefit. We're not really doing that in the U.S. We're kind of going the other direction. So I don't know, to be honest, on vanadium. That's another kind of opaque market. I do like tin. Tin is like the primary demand outlet for tin is solder, and solder is basically the glue that holds integrated circuits together. And tin is supply constrained. The best deposit that's out there is a company called Alpha Min Resources. That's ticker AFM.V, or on the pink slips AFMJF. That's the one that I invest in because
high and tight.
it's like 7% of the global tin supply, but it's in the Congo. So
who knew there were so many stocks from the Congo,
dude? Dude, they all absolutely tanked when Rwanda invaded from the east.
So that was that sell off just early this year.
Yeah, and I mean, I bought hand over fist on the dip just because, the reason being that whoever winds up being in charge of the Congolese, they need those mines to operate. It's essential for a sovereign tax structure.
Right.
But if you want to trade tin prices, the best degen trading vehicle for it is a company called MetalsX, or for the tin barons on Twitter, MetalSex is what they call it.
MLXEF. What the hell is
this?
Yeah,
and MLX.AX, and so they should be buying back their stock, but they're not, and it hasn't quite caught the beta of tin in the way that it should. But especially when Alpha Min went down, everybody's like, well, this is the one that's going to benefit, and it didn't quite get there. But when tin really pops, MetalsX is the one. But honestly, the market that I am most interested in personally is titanium, because that's a critical mineral that we actually do have a chance to reshore. And there's one way to play it, and it's American. It's a brand new plant in Virginia, and it's super cool. So like the investment thesis for titanium is that it's about to have a Bessemer moment. So steel became, a globally important commodity when the Bessemer process, which is, now what we use for blast furnaces, became, recreatable, not just here, but in every, in every major country could recreate that process. Right. Historically, we've relied on a combination of China and Russia for supply. So like 70% of the titanium that we've consumed, which is primarily in aerospace engineering, has come from one of those two countries. It's currently produced using what's called the crawl process, which uses expensive met coal to reduce the titanium oxide into metal ingots. But what we have in the U.S., we start with a titanium ingot, and then in the aerospace industry they shave it down, and those shavings, which you'll take off like 85% of the ingot, will just be in scrap on the floor. That's called SWARF, SWARF, fun commodities word. So they collect all that, and the problem is it gets oxidized when you do that, so you can't remelt all of it. So the U.S. is very, very long all of this titanium scrap.
Okay.
Right. So the O2 concentration in the oxidized portion has been too high to produce high grade until now. There's a company called Hyperion X, the ticker is IPX, that has developed two processes. There's just a primary reduction process called they call it HAMR, HAMR.
What an uptrend!
What's that?
What an uptrend on this
one.
Yeah,
I got hammered on Liberation Day, and this thing is going to go they're starting up commercially relevant production this year. And the other process they have is called HSPT, which is like the sintering process. So HAMR for bigger chunks, and for the very fine product, you use the sintering. Zero carbon emissions. They use hydrogen to reduce it, and they have this brand new facility in Southern Virginia, in Halifax County, in South Boston, and the U.S. is so long titanium scrap, and this is a critical mineral. The U.S. government's going to pay for this. Period. Stop. So they don't have really risk of being underfunded. They even have a titanium mine or project in Tennessee, I think, called Titan, that they'll start with recycled material so they can hit the ground running like that. And then, over time, they'll probably, get this mine up and running, which represents a whole lot of upside. This is one that I've held it for a while, but I haven't held it in size until this big pullback. And this is one that I think, honestly, could probably 6 to 8x from here as commercial production ramps up. I know you guys are degen traders, but
These are great.
This is a really fat pitch.
I'm literally writing these down. Everybody who's watching is so lucky for all this free research, all these names that Matt just gave us. The other thing that I love, and you were at Portfolio Accelerator, so you listen to everybody talking about how much they like international equities. Most of these names you're talking about, they're overseas names. So you're getting that international exposure through these vehicles as well. I love that.
Exactly. And they're all related to the tariffs. I mean, just yesterday, Trump tweeted out that we're going to make domestic uranium production a priority. So
how about these new nuclears today? They're going.
Dude, everything's flying. Like Oklo. I know you guys had calls on Oklo. Somebody just mentioned that in the chat. That's I didn't have this necessarily on my on my bingo card for this year. I thought they'd address it later. But it's for real. Like it's going to restart the uranium trade again, I think. So somebody said you can lose your shirt trading commodities faster than crypto. That's right. You can. These are all some of these. I mean, it's not quite. God, you guys are talking about like buttholes and
when commodities trend, man, they trade like the buttholes in the fart coins. I mean, there's some serious beta in these vehicles and these markets that Matt's talking about.
Yeah. But anyway, IPX is the one that I love. But we can go like down into any one of these commodities. The only one I think kind of stinks, like just outright, is aluminum. Like aluminum looks like death. And again with the China solar stuff, like I just think it's avoid at all costs. But copper is an interesting trade. In that expression that I talked about earlier. I love gold. Gold slaps. Gold miners haven't caught up yet. I think that's an important point. You could probably do like GDX over GLD as a ratio, and
it's a nice reversal. It's reversed trend now. It looks great.
Yeah, and so think about that physically. The price of gold goes up, but miners don't capture that in their earnings until there's a lag. There's like a 6-month lag, 3-month lag, etc.
That long, really?
Yeah. Well, it takes them like they sell on contracts. Some of it's indexed, some of it's not. Some of them sell concentrate, which isn't quite gold yet. So it all just depends. So there's always like this lag. Now the top, the best performing companies are like Lundin Gold, LUG.TO, Agnico Eagle, AEM. I like Kinross as well. But like the rest of the field has to catch up.
This Lundin, I mean, they look like they just cured cancer, not mine gold.
Yeah, that deposit is called Fruta del Norte. It's one of the highest grade gold deposits in the world, and it's run by the Lundin family, who are just mining legends.
Oh yeah.
So,
Matt, before you go, I need some coal talk from you.
Yeah.
There's been some consolidation. No, some of the tickers that I used to be able to see aren't here anymore. We lost CEIX, Arch. What was that merger? What happened there? A couple months back.
So Consol, CEIX, and Arch merged together. And so now they're like this. They're first of all, for those who don't know, there are two types of coal. There's thermal coal, which goes to power generation plants, and metallurgical coal, which goes to make coke, which is basically just carbon. And that carbon is used in the steel process to reduce iron ore down into steel. It picks off the oxygens and FeO2, right? So let's start with thermal coal. We're heading into summer. Natural gas prices probably going to rise in the summer. Thermal coal prices probably going to go along with it. And Core Natural Resources, which is the merged CEIX and Arch, are going to be able to capitalize on that. So they're doing buybacks, unlike most of the other people in the space. So they got hammered today. They're down below $70 again. Love Core below 70. Their buyback is going to keep a bit under that stock. It's basically like valuing the Arch piece at zero, and that's BS. I mean, this isn't a great year for met coal margins, and Arch in particular, or the former Arch, had a mine fire that is, they're going to restart that mine, I think, in Q3.
When was that?
It was back in January, I think. Right, it was the day before the merger, as a matter of fact.
Foul play?
Really? No. It's just that was the third mine fire. There's since been another one that's gotten caught up in the Peabody Anglo merger.
This happens a lot.
Oh, dude, it's been a very bad year for operators in that regard. Lots of ignition events at longwall mines, and it's all coking coal too. So and the fact that coking coal prices haven't really rebounded tells you how bad global demand is, because China is just exporting so much steel at the moment. Those trade cases will take about another year or so to develop. We may see a steel capacity reduction as part of any trade deal that we get done with China, but it's a work in progress. So, Core CNR is the lowest cost thermal coal provider to the Atlantic Basin, and so the consol piece of that company is going to print money. They have kind of floor and ceiling contracts, so when the price gets down here, they're actually getting a little bit better. And God forbid, petcoke prices do relatively well; they'll benefit from that too. So we like CNR. That's kind of their. If I had to pick one, that's probably where I'd go. There are two other ones worth talking on the thermal coal side. Hallador Hallador Energy, which is HNRG. That's kind of a special situation. They were a coal producer. Now they're a power provider. And how utilities have done over the past.
This is some base. This one looks better than the others right now.
Yeah, it's so, I had it going to 18. It went to 18 and pulled back. We've been along since 6. There are a couple of analysts who think it could go to 50. So who knows? I mean, the truth is that AI demand, data center demand, is going to drive U.S. power demand to the tune of like 2 to 3% per year. And the beneficiaries of that are going to be the combination of natural gas and thermal coal. We're going to have to restart coal plants. We may even build a new one if we get saucy. So it's a good market. Who would do it?
Peabody?
So Peabody, we'll talk about them when I talk about coking coal. Alliance Resource Limited Partners, ARLP.
Yep. Yeah. Huge dividend. Is that thing safe?
Yes.
Damn.
Yeah. I mean, final answer, Regis. So ARLP, what they have done is they've diversified into gas royalties, into Bitcoin. I mean, they're doing some.
Excuse me, come again?
Seriously? Yeah.
Bitcoin, ARLP?
Yeah. Well, they've diversified their revenue streams away from just coal in an effort to shore up banking relationships. But right now it's just one. It's the mines themselves are some of the best managed in the country. Joe Kraft, who's the CEO, probably articulates the case for domestic thermal coal better than anybody on the planet. He's a super smart dude. They just hired Jesse Parrish to be his next in line, and Jesse's also a pretty fantastic leader of men. So I like, management's never going to be a problem over there. I like Alliance for the longer term, and it's kind of a sneaky play on power prices with a chunky dividend that'll last.
10% yield, guys.
Yeah. It's an MLP, so that some people may have restrictions on that, but
K1s suck. They should change that.
Yeah. So, but on the on the coking coal side, China's still the elephant in the room. You mentioned Peabody, so Peabody had entered into an agreement with Anglo to buy their Australian super high quality premium low volatile thermal.
And the market killed them for it, right?
Yeah, because they were going to take on a massive amount of debt. So the stock got crushed, went from 20 something down to $10 basically.
Yeah, look at that.
And so there was a fire at one of the mines that they're buying. And I did a piece on this, which you can read at thecoaltrader.com. It's free for everybody, that talks about whether or not this could be a material adverse change. If it is, and it's hard for me to believe it wouldn't be, because if they need to seal off the long wall, then they have to order a new one. The lead time for that is like 18 months. So this might be down for 2 years. And then Anglo insists it's not a material adverse change, and it'll be back up and running. I'm going to put this in air quotes soon. So the ball's in Anglo's court. If they can't get this thing running by August, there's a chance this deal could go south, and then Peabody goes straight back to like 17, 18. I don't think it's going to go back to 20 yet, but like that's sort of what could happen. It's a special sit. It's not an investment. It's kind of like a reverse merger arb almost at this point. But honestly, if I have to buy one coking coal stock over the longer term, that's pretty easy. It's probably Warrior right now. They're bringing on a mine. They're bringing on a mine called Blue Creek. They're not getting the best realizations for the coal, which is kind of a concern. But it is going to ramp up to full production by 2027, and its costs are going to be screaming low. It's going to be one of the lower cost providers to the world. So as that ramps up, so should their revenue. And I think by the time we get into 27, the cycle for met coal should turn, and that's when we should see some movement to the upside for all those stocks. And of course, if we have another event where coking coal goes to $300-$400, then the play is Alpha Metallurgical Resources. If the market goes back to 300 or 400, or we have another Russia-Ukraine type of external event, they're going to capture the beta of that move better than anybody else. And they have a crazy rocking balance sheet that they can absorb pretty much anything for the next little bit. So
love it. Matt, what's your favorite commodity for right now? Right now, today, is it gold or is it something else?
Titanium. It's titanium and it's IPX.
IPX, people, you heard it here.
Yeah.
You are so generous with your time and your research and your views. Thank you so much.
Buddy, thanks for having me on. Love to talk to you guys. And hope to be on again soon.
Thanks
Matt. Have an awesome weekend.
Strazza, we gotta hop.
We gotta go. I mean,
we gotta go. I had a recess. I'll do it quick. My recess was going to be hats off to Around the Horn. This is a show that aired on began airing on ESPN when I was 11 years old.
Is it over?
In 2002. Today is the last episode. I haven't watched the show probably in a decade. I'll watch it today, if only for the nostalgia. So shout out to Around the Horn, and then go Knicks. Game 2 tonight. I'll be not at the Garden. I'll be on my couch, but I'll be watching. So
go New York. Go New York. Go.
That's right. Have a great weekend, everyone. We'll see ya. No show Monday.
Don't
forget. Market holiday, everybody. We'll see you on Tuesday, all right?
Run it.